I, 25M, will be marrying my fiancé G, 25F, later on this year. I've proposed to her a little bit before Christmas and we're aiming for a November wedding. G has 2 older brothers, only one of which has gotten married, and for one reason or another, my mother-in-law, 68F, was not involved in the planning of the wedding at all. She was pretty hurt over this as she's always wanted to help plan her children's weddings, so when we got engaged, she offered to pay for most of the wedding, and in return we agreed to let her help with the planning. In my mind, as long as I'm marrying G, I'm happy, so I was okay with this. The only thing I'm really sticking to that I refuse to change is what I'm wearing. My mother died when I was very young, and she was the daughter of first-generation Scottish immigrants. My grandparents moved from the north of Scotland in the 60s and my mother was brought up learning about her parents' culture. Since she died, I had a hard time connecting to that side of my family, and after my grandfather died a few years ago, I decided that I wanted to wear her family's kilt when I get married. I talked about this with my fiancée before we got engaged, because it is an unorthodox idea, but she thought it was sweet and liked the idea. A few days ago my mother-in-law came up to me and told me I'd have to wear a traditional tux instead of a kilt. When I asked her why, she said it went against the view she had of G's wedding, and that the colors of my mother's tartan clashed with the colors she had chosen for the wedding. When I told her that this was pretty much the only thing I'm unwilling to budge on, she brought up how she's paying for most of the wedding and wearing a tux is the least I could do. When I brought this up to G, she echoed the sentiment her mother had made about paying for the wedding. I'm able to pay for it myself, and I told G that I thought she understood how important this connection to my mother was to me, especially because she can't be there, and if she wasn't able to accept that, then I'd pay for the wedding myself. G told me I was being a bit of a D for being this stuck to what I want to wear, and once my mother-in-law heard that I would just pay for the wedding myself, she got really upset because it's always been her dream to plan G's wedding. I'm feeling like a bit of a duck right now and was wondering if I should just wear a standard tux. My family's kilt is really important to me, but this is causing more conflict than I thought it would. Comment 1. NTA, and you are getting a glimpse right now of how life will be if you marry this person. You told her one thing was important to you and she could do whatever she wants for everything else. She ostensibly agreed. And now your needs are immaterial and you're a duck for wanting anything at all your way. You will be making a huge mistake marrying this person. Your mother-in-law will stomp all over your boundaries, and more importantly your wife doesn't give a crap how you feel and will happily join her mom in stomping on them and then go Darvo on you and make it like she's the victim and you're being an a-hole to have any wants or needs at all. This is red flag city. Walk away or you will regret it, I absolutely guarantee it. Comment 2. NTA. Stick to this. Explain to your fiancé exactly why it's so important to you that you wear a kilt when you get married. Explain it to mother-in-law too. If you really can afford it, pay for it yourself. It's also really important that G comes around to your side on this. Her not understanding why you want this and why it's important is not a good way to start a marriage. Your mother-in-law not coming around is one thing but your wife is another. Comment 3. NTA. A big clue here. Your fiancé agreed with you, now she is supporting her mother over you. This is going to be the rest of your life. Take this time and put the wedding on hold. Your fiancé does not support you now. Let her know that at this time you need to reflect if this is how your life to be, and if she is the one for you. Her behavior after this will give you some answers. I'd ask for the ring back, and weigh your options. I'm a woman, and I love the idea of the kilt. My parents had me, 16F, and my sister, 14F. We lost our dad a few years ago. My mom has heavily favored my sister since she was born. To the point she has raised my sister to be a pretty shitty person to be around. At least she is to me. Dad noticed it and called Mom out, and at some point they did therapy where apparently it came to light that the grandmother she named me after was a person my mom had a lot of resentment toward. Why she named me after her then I will never really know. She claimed not to realize at the time. But she at least has some resentment toward me based on that. She also had some PPD when I was born and claimed the early months with me were a very dark time. Whenever we fight, she takes my sister's side regardless of what happens. Sister takes food off my plate. Won't get in trouble. If I yell at her for it, I get punished. If I take food off my sister's plate in return, I get punished. Sister takes something from my room? Nothing said. I bang on her door after she locked it and try to get it back. Punished for harassing my sister and making noise. I tell my mom about this stuff happening. She says something about learning how to share or my sister being the baby or my sister needing more, so let it go. My sister loves to gloat that mom loves her more. My sister has told me that mom has told her she loves her but tolerates me. My sister told me mom wishes I had died instead of dad. She told me they talk about that stuff. She also told me after dad died mom pulled all the money from my college savings and put it into hers. My sister also lies to mom and claims I did stuff when she feels like I didn't get in enough trouble recently. In June she got me grounded for the whole month by breaking her laptop and claiming I had done it. She knew it would be believable too because I resented mom for buying my sister a brand new gaming laptop while I had to buy a really cheap second-hand one myself, with money from my birthday and Christmas. Mom didn't even let me say anything and my sister gloated that mom will always believe her over me. It came to my mom's attention a few months ago that my sister is struggling in school in a couple of places and she can't seem to catch back up easily. But I always had good grades. I could even graduate early in theory, if my school offered that. They don't. My mom is aware of this from past years. So she told me a couple of weeks ago that I need to start tutoring my sister before she gets into a hole she can't climb out of. I told my mom I won't help my sister. Mom told me I will and it's my duty to help. I told her to spend money on a tutor for her favorite daughter because I won't do a thing to help either of them with this. I told her they don't deserve my help. Mom asked how I could put my sister's future at risk. I shrugged. Mom called me names and slammed a door when she left me. The tension is high because of this and my sister is loving it. Comment 1. If you're advanced enough in your current classes, talk to your teachers/counselor/principal about taking classes at a community college. It can be counted for high school and college credits. I've heard of people doing this so that when they graduate high school, they qualify, fully or partially, for their associate's degree in college. Comment 2. NTA. I'd tell her that you've been informed by sis that you have no college education fund, and since Mumsy believes sister dearest in all things, you believe this to be true, too. Therefore, you can't tutor her, because you'll need to prepare to be on your own for college. This means scholarships and grants and whatever good grades will get you. I have no good words for your family. May you be blessed with found family. And therapy. I wish you well. Comment 3. I'd be talking to a school counselor, but also asking if they can help with legal advice. I would strongly recommend finding out if your dad left your college fund money in his will to you. If that's been given to your sister, your mother can be sued and made to pay it back. If that happens, you can use it as cause to become emancipated. I would strongly recommend finding out if CPS can help you. My husband, 40M, and I, 36F, have been together for 8 years now and our marriage have been rocky. When I met him he had twins, boy and girl. I love them like they're my children, since it's hard for me to have kids, they are mine. My husband and I tried for a baby last year and I became pregnant but had a miscarriage, but I think I'm just not meant to be a new mommy. The kids are 16. The husband kids haven't seen their mom in years because she left them for a guy in New York, which is so sad because they didn't get to have a relationship with her. The twins call me mom and everything, we do everything like a little family I always wanted. When I was younger I always used to tell myself not to date a single father because they might be messing with the mother of their kids, but I took the leap of faith. The other day my son and daughter wanted to go to the mall with their friends, which was fine because they go to the mall a lot with them. The argument started because of what she was wearing. She wore a very short skirt with a crop top and a jeans jacket. I immediately told her no and to change her clothes because I didn't feel comfortable with her going outside like that. I don't even know where she got the skirt from because anything she gets from the mall she gives me a haul. Her brother didn't even care what she was wearing and just rolled his eyes at me. She was pissed and upset. At the top of the steps she screamed and told me I wasn't her mom so I should stop acting like it. Her brother laughed and that made me feel even worse, so I asked him why it was funny to him and he said that it's true, I'm not their mom so I need to stop acting like I can tell them what to do. This felt like a slap in the face because I basically raised her and this is what I get? The past months they've been saying horrible things to me. My daughter even told me it was my fault I lost the baby and she's happy I did. But the next day I toughen up, I acted like nothing happened that day. I would usually wake them up for school and make them breakfast but this time I didn't. I made myself breakfast because like they said I'm not their mom. My son had a basketball game that day and I would be the mom to bring snacks for the team, but I wasn't going. My daughter had a cheer competition 2 days after but I wasn't going and I know you all might call me petty for this and I wouldn't disagree with you. I've been getting up and ignored everyone. I could feel them staring at me every time. Last night my daughter came up to me and asked me why I didn't show up to her competition and I told her I wasn't her mom so why would I? I can already see the YTA and I raised my husband kids and stuff. I told my husband what they said but he brushed me off. I don't think our marriage is working out and I've been thinking about a divorce. I feel unappreciative in the place I call home. When I slave in the kitchen to make them food they order out instead so I am the only one eating the food. Was that too harsh? Comment 1. NTA. Those kids are out of line. I would probably do the same thing, stop being a mother figure since I was unappreciated by the kids. What the girl said to you was cruel. Teenagers can be mean, but they need to learn there are consequences for their actions. Only you can decide if you want a divorce, but it would be understandable given the circumstances. Comment 2. NTA. Also, you are only 36. I would not waste any more of my time with him if I were you. Take a year to yourself and try to see if it is possible to have your own family. Harsh to the twins but they made it clear you are not their mom, and your husband is using you for a ready-made mom, while he gives no care to the fact that you don't have a secure place in his family. Comment 3. NTA. Even a bio parent would be justified to just stop doing parent things when a kid says they don't need them to be a parent. They need to learn words have consequences. Me, 23M, and my girlfriend, 23F, both met through studying law at university together, and we have the shared goal of eventually being trainee solicitors. In the UK, it's an incredibly competitive process, with some firms receiving 4,000 applications or so for roughly 50 spaces, and almost everyone who applies is a strong candidate. Ever since I've known her, my girlfriend has been fixated on training at one firm in particular. I'm not sure why, but I believe it's because she attended a career event there a few years ago and fell in love with it. When the application cycle opened, my girlfriend was excited about applying and she asked for my help in reading the application and checking it over for her. I was happy to do this and wanted her to achieve her goal. When reading hers, I became interested in the firm myself and on a whim, decided to submit a last-minute application. I weighed it up and decided not to tell my girlfriend about this as I didn't feel my application was strong, and I was less focused on only one firm so would send other applications out. Yesterday, my girlfriend received an email that she'd been unsuccessful in reaching the next stage, an interview. She was really upset, but I made her dinner to cheer her up, and she seemed over it the next day. As I had applied to other places and thought my application was weak, I didn't think much of my own and wasn't overly fussed if I progressed or not. However, the next day, I received an email that I had advanced to the interview. I was surprised but also happy because I knew this was a difficult place to get an interview for. When I mentioned it to my girlfriend, she was incredibly upset, started crying, and told me that I'd betrayed her and stolen the job from her. Now she's refusing to talk to me, despite me trying to reach out. Part of me feels extremely guilty as I know how much it meant to her and I was less fussed, but the other side of me thinks the job world is competitive and I shouldn't restrict my future opportunities just for someone else, while there was no guarantee she'd have gotten it anyway, and nor do I yet. Comment 1. YTA for the way you handled this. You applied without telling her. Then you sprang your offer on her when she was upset. I mean, take the job, but this wound might not heal. I'll say this: my husband and I, when we first met, were talking about different places we applied for college, and I mentioned I got into a place but turned it down, and then he shared that he applied there and was rejected, and it really clearly hurt his feelings. And we didn't even know each other at that time. You're her partner, and you did this without talking to her. Think about that. Comment 2. Especially because he only became interested in her dream job after reading her application, which she probably didn't even need his help on. She just wanted a word of encouragement from her partner. Comment 3. My best friend and I applied for the same job. I was so scared I wouldn't get it, but it meant so much to me. I had her read the email and I got accepted, but when she opened hers she was denied. Took my happy face to program department and referred her. I was on good terms with the administration and the job was looking for very technical skills we both had. We both got hired. Smile.
I, M36, and my wife, F38, have been married for 8 years and we have 2 kids, M7 and F5. She is a stay-at-home mom, in charge of all the housework and child rearing while I work and cover us financially. Before you start attacking me, hear me out. We ran into a bit of bad luck with debt a few years ago, and as a result, on average I work 50 to 60-hour weeks to help get us out of it. I am a carpenter, so the days are long and sometimes I drive quite a bit to get to the work sites. By the time I get home, I am exhausted and pretty much eat then collapse into bed. On Saturdays I take my son and daughter out to his soccer games, then back home for lunch, while my wife goes to book club, lunch with her friends, then usually some sort of hike or yoga class. She is back by mid-afternoon, at which point she takes back over the kids and I make dinner, maybe do a bit of laundry and clean the floors. On Sundays it is reversed. I go out with my mates, by mid-afternoon, I return, we have our babysitter come around and we spend the night together. Recently my wife has come to me saying that I need to start doing more around the house. That I need to do more cleaning, organizing, looking after the kids, grocery shopping, cooking. I know that she does a lot and I am in no way saying she doesn't deserve a break, but I am working really hard too. Especially at the moment. I feel like I do the best I can with how much work I'm doing. I know there is a lot in social media right now about men not doing enough at home, but I never thought I was one of those guys. I explained this to her and she said I was being ridiculous. That I spend all day having fun at work with my workmates, while she deals with the children and all of the house chores. Then I get home and just eat and go to bed. This isn't the plan for forever, but I thought it was going all right for now. Edit: my son is in school full-time and my daughter is at daycare 2 days a week, starting school this year. Comment 1, NTA. Now that the kids are school age, your wife could also restart working, and with the extra income, you could drop your hours down and both of you could 50/50ths on the housework or 50/50ths paying for someone to pick up some of the housework. Comment 2, NTA. When you refer to social media and the Times, I believe this is more aimed at women who work. It happens all the time where women work and make lots of money who also end up doing more around the house, with the kids, etc. I was in a relationship like this. I was making more than my ex-husband, and he never once loaded a dishwasher or picked up a mop. Didn't even clean up after himself. It's not 50/50ths. However, here, her job is basically taking care of the kid and house. It's a hard job for sure, but you also have a hard job. At the end of the day, I just think things should be 50/50ths. Your situation seems like it is currently 50/50ths, but if you start doing more, it's going to sway in her favor.